The Emperor's imminent arrival on Cadia, as announced by a member of the Ordo Telepathica, was greeted with an odd mixture of joy, terror, and apprehension. Joy, for what loyal son of the Imperium wouldn't be happy to hear that their Emperor had returned to them? Terror, for those of the Cadians who had turned to chaos for personal greed were now afraid for their souls. Apprehension, because the leaders of the Cadian task force were all too familiar with how the previous visit to Cadia had turned out. Lord Castellan Creed stood on the landing pad of Casa Vortiga and chewed his cigar. Externally, he was placid, but internally, his gut was churning. Color Sergeant Kell, as always, was standing beside him, and, as always, noticed his lord's unease. "Anything I can do for you, sir?" he asked politely. Creed shook his head slowly. "No, Sergeant, I'll be alright." "Not what I asked, sir," Kell pointed out. Creed was silent for a moment. "No, Kell, I don't need anything. But I am wondering where the hell Deathwolf and Blanka got off to," he said. He glanced over his shoulder, where Clendon and Mardius stood at attention, Mardius nursing his head. "I'm sure they'll turn up," Kell said diffidently. "They always do," Creed snorted. "True enough." "The Emperor will arrive in about 2 minutes, Mardius spoke up suddenly. Creed nodded curtly. "Acknowledged. How's your head this time?" he asked. "Better," the telepath said. "It's far less painful when I know he's passing by. Maybe I won't go into a coma this time," he added dryly. "Right. That would be preferable," Creed chuckled. Senior Princeps Pace, leader of the Titan Legion, Legio Vitux II, stationed on Cadia until the Black Crusade was deemed no longer a threat, walked up to him and nodded respectfully. "Lord Castellan," the impossibly pale man said, clearly as nervous as Creed was. "Princeps?" Creed nodded in reply. Before he could add anything to the conversation, however, the air gained a familiar purple tint. All those in attendance stood to parade ground attention as the air rushed back, nearly blowing Pace's uniform hat off, and the Emperor appeared in the middle of the parade ground.
"Gentlemen, it is good to be back,"
the Emperor began without preamble. The various military personnel dropped to one knee in reverence. "Most divine, you honor us with your holy presence," Mardius spoke for them all.
"Yes. Well, I'm glad you could assemble on such short notice,"
the Emperor said, changing the subject. As if they would have done anything other than show up when he commanded, Creed thought to himself. "In fact, my Lord God, the Astartes and Commissariat representatives could not be here," he said aloud. The Emperor shifted his gigantic bulk in surprise.
"Oh? And where might they be, Lord Castellan?"
he asked. Creed felt sweat appear under his collar.
"Forgive me, my Lord God, but I have no idea. They were supposed to be here."
Just in time, the Lord Commissar and Astartes appeared in the door to the open parade ground, with Blanka panting in the Marine's long footsteps. They both skidded to a halt when they saw that the gigantic Emperor was present, with both men doing their best to reach the others and take their places in line. Before they could get even halfway, however, the Emperor's psychic voice spoke.
"So glad you could join us, gentlemen."
"1,000 pardons, my Lord God,"
the Commissar managed.
"We were in the command center. It seems that a massive warp rift has opened to the north."
"Oh? Well, no harm done then."
The Emperor thought spoke, to Blenkach's immense relief.
"Perhaps I'll see to it personally when I'm done here. In the meantime,"
he said, turning his beady gaze on Deathwolf,
"I understand that here, of all places, is where Lehman and us was last spotted."
Deathwolf's heart leapt.
"Ah, no, my Lord God,"
he said cautiously, as he and Blenkach took their place in line with the others.
"It is suspected that the lost 13th Great Company was part of the fighting to the north a few weeks ago, and there was a rumor that Lord Russ was involved, but it was only a rumor."
"Nevertheless,"
the Emperor roared reprovingly,
"there are Imperial troops up there, and they need to be supported. Mobilize what Astartes there are present here on Cadia, and prepare them for marching to the site of that warp rift. I'll be along presently."